I just want people to know that there is no one face of homelessness. Just the other day, like one of my best friends was, oh, that man looks so homeless. It's like, what does homeless look like? Because I'm homeless.
January 11th, 2015, our house caught fire. Totally destroyed everything. We ended up spending about a month at the Days Inn, and then bounced around a couple more times before we ended up in this Keene family shelter, which is where we are now.
Last year, I was absent like 70 days out of the whole year, because at the time I had to like put school aside. Putting school and finding a place is really hard to balance those two out.
All in all, I've been to probably like 13 schools. Maybe more than that now.
You know, when I had to move out of my apartment, a friend of mine let me have my stuff at her house. I ended up staying with her for a little bit, but never feel quite at home at somebody else's house.
I was in high school. I was a senior. I was living with my dad, and he was very sick. And my mom left, and he lost the apartment. I thought like it was the end of the world. I didn't know what to think at the time because I was trying to graduate, and I was worried about my dad too.
It's not a choice. Who chooses not to have a home? Like, I didn't choose not to have a home. I couldn't go back to my parents' house because my parents are divorced. Both houses are very unhealthy for me. And bad weather, being homeless, no, it's terrible. You stay in one place as long as you can just to stay warm. Like, libraries are open, and like you can go sit at Dunkin' Donuts and stuff like that. But that's only for like a short amount of time. Like, people don't know how hard it is to not have a home.
Hotels are really expensive.
Yes.
Even the cheapest motel you can get. The week that we were at one for the first month and a half, it was $85 a night.
Had microwave dinners, and sometimes we all had to share something, and you know, sometimes it wasn't that much, or you know, all the stress kind of, it got to me because I lost weight. Like I wasn't eating, I wasn't focusing, I wasn't sleeping, I wasn't taking care of myself. I was taking care of my family. Everyone always looked to me. My dad looked up to me, my mom looked up to me, my brother looked up to me. It was all, we're depending on Brittany.
And my mom actually messaged me on Facebook while I was in school and said that she had to come get me because we didn't have a house. So we had to go home, and we had an hour to pack up all of our stuff into garbage bags. And then actually the stuff from the trailer that we lived in ended up in storage units, but now none of that belongs to us anymore because we didn't have money for a house, so obviously we didn't have money for a storage unit. Well, my mom was really upset because we lost a lot of sentimental stuff. We kept like clothes and stuff, but that's really all we could keep. Coping was very difficult, but my parents and my brother were struggling, so somebody had to be strong. I've moved around
a lot. I've been to 8 schools. It's hard to being the new girl all the time I always knew I was going to be with my mom, but I didn't know where we were going to live and like if we were going to be living with someone else that I didn't know, meeting them again, or like just not having a place to go.
We lived in 2 hotels. We couldn't really do anything because I wouldn't want to move to a school in Rochester, move to a different school, move to a different hotel for another month and a half, and then come here and then move to a different school. Because if I made friends in that month and a half, they're gone. I went to 3 different schools in Rochester. All my friends gone.
I don't think we would have been able to do it if it wasn't for the fact of the homeless children having to go to school. And if you move to a different, like we were in Farmington, that's not in the Rochester school district, but they let him stay in school, not getting them uprooted again.
You kind of want to throw your hands up in the air and say the heck with it. I can't do this. Which I tried very hard not to do because I didn't want my kids seeing while I'm upset. Didn't want them to see me break down. The hardest thing I think was probably trying to figure out where we were going. Because every day it was, we can't keep staying in a hotel. Need to do something. And we need to do it now. I had very limited income.
We did go through a period where we were staying with another family. And I was talking to one of my friends, and I was telling her about like what was happening. Her mom overheard me. She extended her home, which already had 6 of them already, and they took in 4 more. And my dog. The house was crowded. Again, we were staying in one room. So it was me, my mom, and my brother, and my dog, all in their living room, which they had turned into a little kind of closed off bedroom. It blew up. They got stressed, they got annoyed, we got stressed, we got annoyed. It was just the fact of, okay, it's time to go.
I've broken down so many times, it's crazy, dude. Like, I've cried so much because like I feel so stuck and I don't know what to do. And it's the fact that like me and her are literally on our own. Like, my parents aren't in town, like my parents don't live in the state. Like, it's just literally me and my sister, and that's all we have.
Being a child and being homeless, living with someone else, you're kind of just there in their house. You're just you just exist in their house, and it's an awkward feeling. You don't feel as welcome as they try to make you feel. You don't feel welcomed at all, because most of the time the house isn't big enough for all of you. You just feel like a burden, and that's not what you want to feel like. Already being homeless, already being a kid in a new school. Like, the last thing you want to do is come home and feel like a burden to not even your family, but someone else's family. Like, you can't even, you can't go home and just sit on your couch, do some homework, and watch TV and just, talk to your parents about how school was, because it's not your house.
Because I want to be somebody. I don't want to be dependent on others. I've had to take care of just myself for so long. If I want to do the things I want to do, I have to get my education, and I have to go to college, and I have to get a job, and I have to save money for an apartment.
Sports is the best thing about school, no doubt. And then friends, and going to the same school, around the area that I've always been to. I went to Hampton Academy last year, so I didn't just hop from school to school. So I still have all the same friends and stuff. So that's pretty good.
When I was moving around a lot, it's definitely difficult with my grades because every school's in a different point at where they're learning stuff, and it's definitely helping that I'm here so I know what I'm doing and I know where I'm at with things, and I know people, I know my teachers, and I'm not afraid to talk to them. I love this school and I love the people in it.
What kind of effects of bouncing around are going to affect the kids? You don't want them thinking that every time something good seems to come, when's it going to get swiped out from underneath you? It's a grown-up problem. It's an adult issue. You guys need to focus on being kids. Keeping your grades up. Having your friends, playing with your friends.
My daughter was 3 and she was going to start preschool out here, and at one point it was the only normal thing that she had. And I said, you know what, if everything else is crazy, I just don't want her education to be affected by it. You know, I might be here literally counting pennies under the couch to try to scrap up a half a gallon of milk for her right now, but her education will not be affected.
The thought of moving out on my own is really scary because, like, everything is on you. Bills on you, food on you. Like, there is nobody else to help you. Like, you gotta learn to budget and survive on your own.
My bed, his bed. Basically, me and him just thought all day, every day, it's gonna be over soon. Because we knew at some point we were gonna be able to move somewhere. I guess I'll be a doctor, because that's the only, either doctor or teacher, because I like to help people.
I mean, some teachers don't always know what's going on, but I mean, like, just being understanding and trying to work with kids is the biggest thing. It's definitely helpful when your teachers know and they're understanding and they give you the time that you need and they work with you through everything and they understand. It's the biggest part is definitely understanding what a child's going through and helping them through it.
I think this is gonna sound silly, but being homeless, the schools do care about you. They try to get you what you need, all your essentials and everything like that. The schools have always been great to us like that. I don't like when other people know I need things. Like, I know the school district and everything, they have their eyes on me. They're gonna know because they hear things, we tell them things and things like that. But students, other classmates, for the school to give me clothes or food and to have it sitting in a bag next to me in class after I just got called down from the office, it's kind of just like,
it's embarrassing.
It's like a punch in the face.
You don't have any shoes, sweetie? No. Okay.
In the school that's bullying him, and he just did a complete meltdown. I ended up walking him in, talked to the counselor, and that's there, and she calmed him down and said, "You don't really hate your mom, do you?" And he goes, "No." She even mentioned that he's handling a lot of stress right now, and it can eat away at people, which I know firsthand because I have anxiety and I get overly stressed, and then when you're trying to hold all that in, for anybody, you can explode.
I could finally go to school and not worry, am I gonna have anywhere to go? Am I gonna have to leave my bag somewhere in school that I'm not gonna be able to, like, that I'll be able to get it the next day? You know, that I'll be able to have my own bed, my own room, you know, have my privacy back and, you know, go back to being an adult, being a young teenager. Yeah. It was big.
When you have a child that, you know, is thirsty or hungry or whatever, and the fact that you can't just go in your wallet and grab your debit card or grab $5 or whatever and go to the store because you don't have it, it makes you desperate. You know, it's our job to provide for our children. And when we don't have the proper needs necessary to do so, you know, it puts you in a really difficult situation.
I've been homeless for all of high school, but I've managed to keep up my grades, get into a college for basically free. Like, it doesn't, it doesn't affect, I mean, it could. I could definitely affect someone, like, very negatively, and you have to understand that they're not just a bad kid, that they have things going on.
Everything now is a waiting process. You can only fill out so many applications. And you think 2 years later something would have come to fruition, but not always the case.
And I knew that there was a problem with homelessness, but I didn't know that it was to the extent of what it is now.
I think people have this perspective on whether it's homeless people in general or the homeless youth. I think they like find it's like, okay, well, you know, they're just a bunch of kids who want to run on the streets, and you know, they're choosing not to be home, and you know, they're choosing to do what they want to do and things like that. And it's like, no, it's more than that. It's a lot more than that. You know, there are some kids that, you know, not just me and Sam, there are some kids that, yeah, they're running from home, but there's a reason why they can't be home, you know. And sometimes the streets might feel a lot safer than being at home. And I feel bad for any kid that has that predicament, because I would love to just have a home in general. And, you know, I can feel for anyone who just doesn't feel safe at home, or, you know, doesn't feel like their home is home even though they have a home.
I just want people to know that, like, there is no one face of homelessness. And that, like, the person, like, thrift stores have name brand clothes. That's how I have name brand clothes. Like, just because you dress like you're not homeless or you carry yourself like you're not doesn't mean that you're not struggling. So people just need to understand that there's, like, stereotyping and just, like, putting a face to a name isn't just, it's dumb. Because it's not true, and